Okay, no problem. Just let me know.
We're good now.
All right, thank you very much. All right, the time is 6:30. We begin our regular meeting. Craig Schulte, Bill Lovis, myself, Michael Gary, Kim Van Deck, and Mandy Lehman are with us tonight. And City Attorney, put on your glasses.
Oh, I forgot to put them in.
Is it Joe?
We don't need them. We're okay.
Oh, that's
We're pretty
you.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Joe.
Yeah, you're Joe. Thought that looked familiar. Like, that doesn't look like the attorney's name. Is Gavin here?
Not yet.
All right, well, we're gonna get going without Gavin then. That's the way it rolls. Time now for open forum. Is anyone here for open forum? I think I know the answer to this, but your head's down. Okay, that will move on from open forum. Next, on to the consent agenda. For any amendments or approval there, would anyone like to make a motion for the consent
I would
agenda?
make that motion to approve.
Second?
The consent agenda as presented.
Second that.
Thank you. Any questions, changes to that agenda?
I don't see anything.
Okay. All for approval of the consent agenda?
Aye.
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 All right, you're all set with that. Now we're on to new business. And we were to have an HRA update with our HRA director.
We could,
Hmm?
should we just push it? Maybe hold? I
Um,
mean, I suppose, is that an amendment? Do we have to amend the agenda to switch those two?
Well, let us move on and give him some time. Okay, why don't you make the motion that we will
Yeah.
move on to North Shore and then come back to this. We'll just motion it, how's that?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to amend the agenda to move, switch E and F.
Alright, second on that?
I'll second.
Alright, all approval for that amendment to the agenda, aye.
Aye.
Alright, very good. Thank you. Now we can go on to our guests here for North Shore Resiliency Study and their presentation. Feels somewhat timely considering our current situation. And that's interesting thought, reading it, because typically we're just told, oh, get on the grade and go. You know, if there's an issue, and this really kind of highlights, depending on where you're at, how you can get up and go, or what parts we need to do. So with that, if you'd like to introduce yourselves, please.
Sure. Thank you for having us. My name is Erica Shepard, and I am a transportation planner with MnDOT District 1 based out of Duluth.
My name is Joe DeVore. I'm a project manager at KLJ Engineering. I'm the project manager from the consultant side, and I did forward the meeting info to Beverly as well. She might jump on, she might not tonight, but we have her as part of the team with ARDC who did a lot of work on kind of the preliminary of the study coming into this.
And I'm not paying attention, just quickly see if I can get hold of our HRA director, but I am paying
Oh,
attention
good.
just in case.
So,
Where are you?
No worries.
So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us here today. I recognize a couple faces from another event in Grand Marais earlier this spring, so I'm sorry if this is repeat information, but MnDOT is leading a study called the North Shore Roadway Network Resilience Study, also known as the Highway 61 Alternative Routes Study, looking at what potential alternate routes to Highway 61 could look like in the event that Highway 61 has to close, because we don't have any official identified alternate routes. So the study's been in the works for several years. It predates me, so I'm kind of standing on the shoulders of a lot of folks, including, I'm sure, a lot of people in this room who have done a lot of work to get us to this point. So it's a super multifaceted study. It's kind of part emergency management, part climate resilience driven. We're looking at Highway 61 itself, and we're also looking at local roadways that kind of connect into Highway 61. And it's a really long study area. We're basically looking at Highway 61 from Two Harbors all the way to the Canadian border, so that is 125 miles. We're also looking at alternate routes, detour routes within that lighter orange crescent shape on the map, so the southern portions of Lake and Cook counties. Because it's such a large area, we have kind of broken out the study area into 10 segments and a little over 140 subsegments, kind of following roadway breaks and mile markers to kind of help us organize our data and analysis because it's such a large study area. This summer, we're kind of in the middle of our data collection phase. We're kind of doing an existing conditions review, getting a sense of local concerns and vulnerabilities, and then collecting data. And then in the fall, we'll kind of get into our detour analysis, so evaluating the alternate routes that are identified, looking at regional versus local detour distinctions, so kind of like large scale rerouting versus local access, things like that, and then looking at things like seasonality and how that impacts which alternate routes would be feasible, depending on what time of year the closure would be. And then in the winter, we'll get into concept development. So based on the vulnerabilities that we find, we'll look at what the potential infrastructure improvements might look like, kind of develop out what those might entail, and then the end goal and deliverable will come in spring 2027 with a closure action plan. So those will kind of be a few. By segment, the action plans will include detour options, kind of looking at the length of the detour and time versus mileage, what detours might work for what kinds of closures, when, and then also an investment prioritization of recommended improvements. So really the end goal here is for our local and federal and tribal partners to be able to kind of leverage the study to apply for grant funding to be able to make some of those improvements that we identify. So the project goals, I kind of have danced around them a little bit, but we'll be evaluating existing and future conditions of Highway 61 and the local roadway networks, assessing climate, environmental, and infrastructure vulnerabilities to Highway 61. Big one, identifying and evaluating viable alternate routes to 61, and then developing those investment recommendations. And then of course, engaging with partners, stakeholders, and the public to build a shared vision throughout the study. So that's kind of a broad overview of the study, and then I'll pass it off to Joe to kind of get into more of the details.
Thanks, Erica. So when we started this project, we had one example of 61 being closed this year back in February. It was a blizzard. When we think of closure impacts with a blizzard, closing 61 between Duluth and the border, there aren't a lot of viable alternative routes because 61 is likely to be the first one plowed and kind of that main access point opened up. However, back in May, the Stewart Trail Fire down in Two Harbors closed the segment of 61 between Two Harbors and Silver Bay for 4.5 days. This was caused by a wildfire, and that alternate route did have quite a long detour where there were several shorter cut-through routes that were being used. So it was a good example of what goes right and wrong with a identified detour plan. And then lastly, in summer of 2026, with a culvert replacement project up in Hovland, we are looking, or MnDOT's looking at up to a 12-day detour on Arrowhead Trail, where 61 will be closed. It's a lot shorter of a detour route. It's a couple of minutes versus some of the numbers we'll be talking about today. But it's again, an example of needing to close the roadway to replace a culvert. If a culvert gets washed out, there's going to be several days of MnDOT responding to that and having to replace it, where that traffic's getting detoured to the local roadway network, whether that's county, municipal, or township or Forest Service road. So that Stewart Trail fire gave us a really good example of the 511 posted detour, which came straight from MnDOT, of going up, connecting into County Road 2 and then coming to the south. It was a much longer route, 49 miles, 56 minutes. However, just that southern portion was closed due to the fires, so people were finding that fastest route via Google Maps, via their local knowledge, knowing that they could cut across on Gun Club Road, save about 10 minutes. However, the roads are in rough conditions on Gun Club Road. It's narrow, so if there is cross traffic, those vehicles are coming in very close proximity, having to slow down. So if both directions are detouring on that roadway, it's not a feasible route if freight and trucks are also detouring on that route.
And not everyone's cell phone coverage works. Lake County has crappy cell phone.
Yeah, I actually
Coverage.
did drive this, so I remember that.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah.
Another aspect of wildfires is there's generally an evacuation area or a large acreage that is closed. And so when we're looking at detour routes responding to a wildfire with this study, a close proximity parallel route might also be closed. So we were looking at several options with these local route identifications for us to study so that we have a plan A and a plan B for as many segments along here that we can. So as we start looking at roadway data along the county and local system, we're using a company or a product called Road AI, which is cell phone dash cam video that's being uploaded to a software provider. And they're looking at that video and calculating out the roadway condition, the roadway width, line markings, and traffic signs. So what this data gives us is some of that important information when we're considering a detour of can we fit bi-directional traffic on this roadway, what condition is that roadway in as far as taking freight vehicles. When we're considering detours, this spring we have a frost thaw cycle where there's a lot of the load restrictions on the county roads. So for freight traffic, we have to take that into consideration. And then, as you said, spotty cell service. If we have traffic signs diverting someone and taking a route they don't have any idea that they're on, we need signage to bring them back to 61 past where that detour route is as well. We're also looking at filling a culvert inventory. Both Lake and Cook County have pretty good culvert inventories. However, the local roadways, Forest Service roadways, have very spotty data. So you can see a lot of those points up on the grade, which is the Forest Service road that's converting to the Cook County road. And then a lot of these other gravel roadways that we either ranked that culvert as needing attention or it was missing information on where those streams were crossing our potential detour routes. And so for all those culverts, we're looking at the condition of the culvert, any road settlement that's occurring, erosion, or obstructions. As we're looking at reasons why 61 would close, we have 5 main categories. A dam, culvert, or bridge failing would likely close 61 for multiple days. Coastal erosion is that long-term risk factor of having to realign 61 if the coastline does take it out. There's several locations along the corridor, just to the north of here, where that coastline's within 50 feet of MnDOT right-of-way. And it has been moving over the past 30 years. So that is a big concern as we start looking out 20, 30, 40 years down the road. Landslide risk, there's a lot of cliff faces directly adjacent to the corridor where there have been rock falls over the years, wildfire risks, which we went into detail on, and then crash risks when there's a serious injury or fatality. State Patrol may need to shut the highway down for 6 hours to a day to reconstruct that crash scene. When we're looking at detours, we're looking at that increased distance and time versus travel times on 61, what traffic volume is being diverted. And so a lot of these county roads have 100 to 500 vehicles on them at the most. When we're talking about thousands of cars on 61 being diverted to these routes, that's a year's worth of roadway damage done in days versus, a year. So trying to understand that impact. Distance to trauma centers, EMS responses, those are very important to minimize those detour travel times. And then VMS, variable message signs, roadway technology cameras to quickly identify situations and be able to implement the detour routes. So looking at some of the specifics in Cook County around Grand Marais, we are seeing a lot more gaps in existing detour routes compared to Lake County. We have 6 of them identified here in that kind of 30-minute range to 90-minute range, and then there's even a few north of Grand Marais where there's a gap where there isn't a detour route right now if something happened in that 61 segment. So we're looking at potential new roadway connections or improvements to maybe old county alignments that just haven't been maintained. That's the County Road 69 to 17 section, just north of Grand Marais there, or north of Hovland. But then we're also considering where gravel roads might need to be widened out to take two-way traffic or improved so that they can handle that amount of traffic. As we look at Grand Marais and start looking at some of those potential detour route traffic, the grade adds anywhere up to about 53 minutes between Grand Marais and about Silver Bay, where you can kind of connect back down on Highway 1, or I guess Ilgan. Understanding that that type of a detour is there, some of those shorter routes like Pike Lake Road, Ward Lake Road, where they're coming up as saving 20 minutes, they're in much worse condition than the grade, and so we need to compare that condition of the roadway versus those travel time savings as we start identifying the investment priorities for Cook County and the Forest Service.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So the county plows that
Mm-hmm.
and wanted full responsibility for it for this very reason. So where do things like time priorities go over the fact that, it is a better, well-maintained, more usable road,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just talking about element of time? Where, you don't have to totally answer it, but there's a common sense sort of priority when you make these decisions.
Yep.
Does it really make sense to take a road that is not even near usage for this purpose and even consider it, let alone spending the dollars to improve it and to ask somebody to maintain it, versus taking a road that may take you longer but it's already equipped to handle this for the most part?
And that's the exact question we're trying to answer with some technical information versus just making a guess at it. Like, where is that inflection point of we've spent a lot of money on the grade, it's the more continuous route today, and would likely be that regional detour route if something were to happen between Grand Marais and Ilgan City. How does that transition if certain segments are closed in that area where one of those shorter routes might be the, main route that's going around a 1 mile issue versus a 50-mile issue. So that's what we're trying to work with our county partners on is, there's the regional connections and the grade's going to be that regional connection likely. But there's so many different segments along here, if there's a shorter section that's closed, that traffic's going to divert to that shorter route. Just like the Two Harbors example, it was a 10 to 15 mile stretch that people had to get around. They're gonna try and take that shortest route and it wears out the roadway. I've got a, Road AI dashboard I could show you that was one of the roadways that's showing the most wear because we took the data right after that detour route.
Well, I got up, it was so funny, I was on that detour, I got up there to the, was it the gun, whatever it was?
Yep,
Club
Gun
Road,
Club
yeah.
Road.
Yeah, and then they said, nope, this is closed, you gotta go, so then I had to go all the way
So-
up and then
okay.
catch.
There were actually people out that told you, because I've heard a
They
lot of
did
stories
get
about people who
signs.
get through, got through
Yeah.
anyways.
I think a lot of people went
I mean-
around the local detour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
signs
I
too.
could have ignored the sign, I was like,
Exactly.
I don't really know the area that well, so
Yep.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go, so I
Yeah.
did end up going back and then coming into Silver Bay.
So as far as our schedule, Erica kind of went over our overall project schedule, but really our focus during this phase 1 engagement has been getting focus group meeting details. Back in April, we met with 5 specific focus group meetings to discuss emergency management, multimodal business and tourism, so like wayfinding signs. With a detour, you might be going past your destination, you need to know to backtrack to get to Split Rock Lighthouse or other big destinations. Environmental, really looking at those risk factors that we're quantifying with the study. Federal and tribal, looking at the border crossing and Grand Portage Reservation, how that interaction has some existing gaps today. Where that nearest border crossing is International Falls, so a little bit outside our study area. But the feedback we got on that bridge is it's a very resiliently built bridge to where they can do maintenance and still keep traffic flowing across that bridge, barring an entire bridge failure. And then lastly, cities, townships, and counties, really trying to get an idea of how much engagement we wanted to do with councils, which led us to July. We've met with the cities and townships of Tofte, Two Harbors, Schroeder, and Grand Marais, and then met with both the counties yesterday, just going through the similar information, trying to get as much input as we can to integrate into this study for what priorities or deliverables would help the city in kind of planning for resiliency in the roadway network. And then lastly, public engagement. We were at Bay Days last weekend as well, Silver Bay. We're also planning to either do rendezvous days or fisherman's picnic coming up here at the end of July or early August as a kind of Cook County event. So as far as next steps, we're getting a lot of this data collected and analyzed this fall. We'll be starting to sift through these detour routes with all that technical information and trying to compare where those priorities need to be from a county and municipal level. And then lastly, coming up with those closure action plans and investment plans of which grants are we going after moving forward with always changing federal roadway infrastructure planning and grants. So with that, we'll maybe take a pause for any other input you have on some of these risk factors and potential detour routes. We also have some information kind of showing examples where these are the types of maps that we're looking at for like wildfire closure risk. We're looking at historical wildfire locations, proximity to national forests where tree growth is a lot more dense and could accelerate forest
What's this
fires.
one that's up there now? Or is that?
Yep, this is all kind of the fire risk.
That's fire risk, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you'll see areas kind of north of Silver Bay, between two harbors, or just north of kind of Silver Creek where the Stewart Trail fire was, is kind of in that 4 out of 5 ranked risk. And then spots around Grand Marais, kind of north and south of Grand Marais, specifically around Lutzen to the south, where there's the state forest as well.
Well, I see in this, you're looking at culvert inventories
Yep.
and just items that need to be attended to on the road. I'm sure you heard this in Schroeder and Tofty, but I'm gonna ask it too. So with the planned repaving next summer of those areas, are those kinds of issues already incorporated into that plan? I mean, I know it's not your part of the work, but
It's her part.
like I'm assuming
I can
you've already
speak to that.
done that investigative work.
Yeah, for sure. And I think culvert improvements will be incorporated into, at least the major ones will be incorporated into the next summer's project. But a lot of, it's interesting because we know a lot of the culvert data, the condition, the size, all of that on Highway 61. We don't know that much about on the local road, so that's mostly what this data collection is to help kind of fill those data gaps, so we can help our local partners kind of identify, oh, this one's like grossly undersized based on past flooding data and things like that, so.
Okay, that's good to know, because you have probably heard well how important that is to all of us
Right.
to get that done, not to mention all the people who visit us.
It's a very bumpy section of road.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
it
yeah.
nicely.
Yeah.
So Erica's also the project manager on that.
Well, on the study,
Yeah.
the one next year, or is one of our engineers, but there will be an open house on August 20th in Schroeder on that project, so
Again,
there'll
they
be
have one
more.
already, right? I thought they did have one, or maybe not.
For the study back in February, and then now we're coming back and doing a little bit more, but
Okay.
yeah, definitely much more information on next year's project at the August 20th meeting.
So just seeing some of the direction and kind of going back to that Grand Marais zoomed in map. County Road 7 really provides a good alternative route directly around Grand Marais. It's paved, it's in good condition. It's a very minimal travel time add. If I'm reading correctly, what you're seeing is that kind of regional route down to Two Harbors, down to Silver Bay, down to the Twin Cities. That connection is kind of the most underserved right now, like with the grade kind of filling that gap, but not
It
really.
usually fills in that gap.
Yeah,
I mean, that, I don't know, this is me talking personally, but 20 more minutes, that gets you on a smooth fairly smooth, wide gravel road that's straight. I mean, so, you're not doing this, you
Yeah.
can drive this and then drop back down again, and if you need to, you can still continue. I mean, granted, you're right, there's always gonna be some unexpected interruption to it, but I think it serves its purpose quite well considering where we live.
Yeah.
Um, But you guys.
Oh, I agree.
So I don't know.
I think another thing we've heard, and definitely I think you're maybe a little bit alluding to this, is that locals know this and know the roads around here. And I think one thing, at least with the Stewart Trail fire, that kind of elevated the need for wayfinding and signage more than I initially going into this study thought it would be much more infrastructure improvement based, but the wayfinding aspect is gonna be huge, especially with how many tourists come up here and don't necessarily know all the back roads that I'm sure all the locals know.
Well, I think that's true anytime you go anywhere. If you're not familiar, you're just
Right.
not familiar.
Right,
I don't think it's that I mean, yeah, you can feel nervous if you're not used to the woods and you're not up there, but I don't think that issue's any different. You can be in the metro and if you don't know where
yeah,
you need to
absolutely.
be, short of the fact that now you could pull it up on your phone and figure it out. but in a certain amount, we get a lot of people up here now that pull up an app and it's a snowmobile trail and they do it
Yes.
anyways.
And they do it
So-
anyways.
You know, the common sense head isn't always on, or they just say, well, the map told me and it could. And that's not,
And then they're calling a tow truck.
Yeah.
if the truck can get there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you can have all the signs you want, but common sense.
Yeah, I think it's almost worse.
Sometimes, yeah. This
Is-
was,
Being out on the snowmobile all the time and seeing these lost Subarus that are way down 2 miles on the snowmobile trail, that didn't have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen years ago, but it's happening now.
yeah, now it's almost worse.
Oh,
I think it has more to do with plowing more roads that don't need to be plowed and signing that you can maybe get somewhere, and it's only seasonal.
I mean,
Yeah.
A for effort to try to do the best you can do to help somebody make this easier, but at some point,
Maybe that's a good question, William, that you brought up. Are a lot of the forest roads used as just snowmobile trails in the winter, or
Somewhere,
some are?
Historically,
not all of them are plowed.
So that's where like a summer route would show up.
Even-
As a route,
even some of
but
the
it's-
roads into the federal campgrounds aren't plowed in the wintertime.
Right.
Snowmobiles drive up, and they get packed nice and hard, and the car goes by and goes, oh, we can drive in there. Only to find out they get in a half mile or mile and it's no more trail.
Yep.
You know,
Sink down.
that happens a lot.
or the guy who thought, my app told me if I just went down here at the scale and he found himself at the bottom of Moose Mountain and got stuck, and then no way to get back out, and thought a tow truck was gonna come down and get him out. But my app told me I could be down here.
No, I think that's really helpful info. Just the seasonality of some of these roadways has been something we've heard this last week, and
Yeah,
trying to get that
They're
integrated.
not maintained, not all of them are maintained year round, and maybe signage that says that, like in the off season, you know, might help some of these people, like I said.
Yeah, like Valley Creek is, in this one.
yeah, that's a good example there, it's snowmobile
I mean,
trail,
right at the beginning, yeah, because people are living there, but.
and a portion of it's ski trail.
Well, that's been very helpful info. We just wanted to kind of open the lines of communication early on in the study. We've still got a year to go, where we're gonna be doing a lot of analysis over the next 3 months, trying to get some of those preferred detour routes identified, probably then touch base again with all of our agency partners, and then hopefully get some closure plans next summer.
Yeah, thank you so much for your comments, and feel free to reach out or if you have any other thoughts. Yeah, I think you have Joe's email, hopefully I can send, if, are there emails in the slides?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my version that I
Your version
updated,
is-
I
okay,
can send
cool.
those.
Yes.
I just
they should
want
be in
to
the slides.
check, apologies for coming in late. I had internet issues, but I'll just introduce myself. I'm Beverly Sloat Tolliver. I'm the Arrowhead Regional Development Commission's project lead on this project. So
Thank you, thanks for the introduction.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Beverly.
Yeah.
All right, and thanks for the time tonight.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Glad somebody's thinking about this.
Well, timing is everything, and we rearranged it, and you're spot on here, Jeff. It's your turn.
Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm just in attendance today to give you kind of an update about what's going on with the Highway 61 project at 1800 West Highway 61. Right next to the city building, right across the street from the Aspen Inn, on what I like to call the western gateway to Grand Marais. So the purpose is just to give you that update. The project would not be possible without your assistance and your help in making this a reality, and demonstrating the what I consider to be a long-term partnership between the HRA and the county and the city in terms of making sure we have housing that's adequate for the workforce that we need in Cook County. That planned conveyance of $1 is something that I still think is very worthwhile. It will really help with making the housing project more affordable. The EDA, as you know, has a $1.3 million grant through the state of Minnesota, through the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. That $1.3 million only comes once in a lifetime, and thankfully we were able to receive that here, and it does have a timeline that is ticking every day. We started with the idea that it has to be completed by January 1st, 2028. That has not changed, and our assumption is that we are looking to find a developer. I think we found one that's going to meet or perhaps develop the project to completion before that January 1st, 2028 deadline. So I'm really excited for that. Over the past several months, of course, Mayor Benson's been involved with some discussions about finding a new developer in this area, and also discussions about what that means for the impact of this project and that sort of thing. And as it stands right now, we have completed a non-binding letter of intent, an LOI, to Vision Incorporated, to which we have said we're going to start working on a developer's agreement. We are in negotiations right now with that developer's agreement. The hope is that the HRA will take action in a special meeting on the 29th of July, which is coming up in just a few weeks. We just had our board meeting at 5 o'clock, or 3 o'clock today, ended up at 5 o'clock, and we just don't have enough time for us to meet those deadlines for that meeting, and so we're having a special meeting at the end of the month to kind of keep things going. Mayor Benson had asked me about a timeline, and I did provide that to you. I don't know if you saw it kind of late, sorry for that. I meant to do that earlier for you. But our goal is that we would continue to get the project rolling along. And so I'm just gonna pull that up so everybody's kind of aware of where we're at. So we're negotiating the final developers agreement now, trying to get everything inked out and agreed to, so that way we can have our legal folks look at it and get everything drafted, that sort of thing. On July 29th, the HRA is looking to hold a special meeting to review that developers agreement and discuss it. And then of course we're at the July 15th meeting here today to talk to you, give you kind of an idea of what's going on, and to help with preparations for that lane conveyance to the HRA as part of the process. On August 19th, we're hopeful that the City Council will take a look at this project and discuss that land conveyance to the HRA and keep things moving forward. On the 31st, we're hoping that we convey that property to Vision, and we're hopeful that by December of this year, we're breaking ground to start the process of building and constructing 16 units of housing, of which 11 of those 16 units will either be 60 or 80% of the market rate in a subsidy. We are contributing $100,000 to the project in upfront costs, with the idea that we can get up to 10 years of subsidy on the back end for the renters at that property. And so that's part of the discussion. There's a lot of things I could say. I've been kind of living this whole project for the last couple of months as we switch into a new developer and ease into that process. Happy to answer any questions that you might have for me today. And from there, I'll just
to put it in context, our 1.3 million, can you remind me the total amount the state gave out this year?
yeah, less than 4 million.
And we got 1.3 back then, that was a historic year, and we did very well. They want us to have this money and get this built. They don't want to see this not happen.
That's right.
And that was a major motivator, besides the fact I think our council, after our last meeting with the original developer, felt we would love to see somebody else in this shoes to do this. And I know they're not listed here, but this, and I know Gunflint View had a sort of a reconfigurations of ownerships and had multiple names because of it, but this group is part of that bill,
Exactly,
right?
yes.
Even though it's not listed in here.
Oh,
Yep.
These were some of the people, business
that worked
group,
on.
yeah, that did
Okay.
Gunflint View.
Yep.
So they've already been up here working.
Yep.
They'll be in 2 harbors now.
Yeah, they're also looking at doing a project, I believe it's 75 units in 2 harbors. But given the fact that there's a time clock on this project, they're still looking to prioritize that one and get this one done before the January 1st deadline as well. So, and then of course, you know, there's conversation about the other 2 parcels that we have for Gunflint View 2, Gunflint View 3. Those are ongoing conversations, but what we do know is that at their HRA, we have the housing study that showed we needed a certain amount of housing, both in single family and multifamily. I think we're doing a great job of, you know, getting the multifamily. We still need to work on the single family, and we're doing it here and there. What I do know is that the Gunflint View is full, and the Heights is full, and you know, I think that those are indicators that the study clearly showed what we needed in our community. And talking to some of the people that live in our community, it sounds like we could use more of it for the workforce needs that we still have that are unmet.
And the original design was only 8 units, now this has 11.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other piece I liked is that the 2 bedrooms also have 2 bathrooms. So if you are a roommate situation or whatever, that just makes a better, you know, working thing. That's, might sound kind of whatever, but if you're living in that apartment, you're gonna be a little bit happier.
Catch that, Mayor. I'm
Workforce.
glad to.
Now you're looking at the layout and like, yeah, this is nice. And you're right, we actually, you know, we're well aware we need family housing. And we know we need some kind of assisted living or more things like the homestead cooperative or the condos. And did that study get sent out? I got stopped
Yes.
today.
Sorry, I forgot that Mike was not going to be here today, and I sent all that stuff to him this afternoon. Actually, we did connect about that, but it didn't get to you yet. He's got it, he'll send it out.
Yeah, so we'll get
Yep.
that, cause that's the beginning of that, looking at that kind of housing and whatever. So that study of housing for that group is, you've got some data and stats on that. I know the HR is focusing on that. I think that's important to understand that there is that recognition that this is just one piece of multiples that you're prioritizing
Absolutely.
that needs to be done.
Yeah, we have a lot of unmet needs in Cook County, the senior living part of it all, we just talked about now. We have a study that shows that we need a certain amount of housing for assisted living and a certain amount of housing for memory care. And that stuff has to show up organically where we never really have had that before, or at least we haven't had it for a very long time. You know, that's gonna take further partnerships, and I appreciate everyone and their interests in Cook County for this process, because we're one of the more isolated counties in the state, and one of our what I like to think one of our assets is those partnerships. Some places that just doesn't happen. It's everybody competing against each other, and I think over here in this county we're competing for each other. That's a big distinction.
And then I know the picture is just kind of a rough whatever, but
Yes.
you will notice there's a certain kind of spaceship-y element missing from this design.
Oh, from,
Yeah,
Yeah. So, and then
this
there's,
is probably just a rendering of what
yeah,
they can architecturally do, a few things, I think, to make it
yeah, and that's, but that one
an assault box kind of.
exterior
yeah.
element
Yeah.
is missing. The artsy part's gone, as I'd like to say. And I know it's not in here, but they did graciously answer that. So this unit, or this concept does have a fitness center. So my question to this building group was, well, we got our Y and some other private whatever, is there a better way we could utilize that space in this building and not look competitive? And they gave a very thoughtful answer back, which made sense that it's an entity, an amenity
Yeah.
that most people want no matter
What I'm
what.
looking for, yeah.
Expectations, so it was just a thought.
And it does sound like the one up at,
The view has that, right?
yeah,
Right.
and it sounds like it's being well used.
Yeah.
From what I hear, anyway,
So-
anecdotally.
Yeah.
Everything's attractive out there, I think I like how that turned out.
And I've been in both of their community rooms now for meetings,
Oh.
when I actually found my way there. Went to the wrong building the other week, totally late, trying to get in the building, and like, where are you guys at the other building?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay now. But those were nice too, their community space to run or utilize, whatever. Yeah. Okay, other questions?
So it's good.
Thoughts?
Great.
Good. Other things you wanted us to know, Jeff?
I just, keeping on the timeline is really important to the final product, I think, and I wanna make sure that I keep, the HRA at least on our timeline that we need to. So like I said, the 29th is the next big step, and that's the developers agreement. And the it's been a long day. The developers agreement is going to cover things like landscaping. It is gonna cover stuff that's really important, just like the other projects have as well. So, I'm really looking forward to getting that accomplished and moving forward on that.
Oh, are they done with the pieces they had to send back to the Minnesota Housing?
Yes, they
So
actually
they're
sent us a copy of their workbook.
There you go, that was the
Um,
word I couldn't
Yeah,
think of.
and the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency was initially concerned about us, not having a developer. Now having a developer, they were able to look at the workbook, and it looks like they're reviewing it now. I don't see any major red flags or flares that they've shot up in the air yet, so that's always a good thing. The biggest thing is they want to see us be successful in this project as well. They want to be partners however they can. They'd rather not give the money back. They do know that there are other communities that would use this money, but we're first in line, and if we don't do anything that substantially changes the elements of the construction of this, one of those is of course the fitness room, we can continue to keep this grant and use it for our community. And so that was kind of an articulation to the new developer, and so, yeah.
Oh, and mention the other organizations that also will probably come in financially supporting this.
So
I
they're.
mean, it's not confirmed, but.
It's not confirmed yet, but they are meeting with a couple of nonprofit organizations that have expressed some interest with some financing. They reached out to me and asked, they were really concerned that this grant was going away, and they really do see the need also for housing in Cook County. And so they reached out to me independently and said that they're very interested in funding projects for housing in Cook County going forward. And I'm really happy to have that. Vision developer is looking to, they're having a conversation. I believe they actually had it at 3:00 when I was having the HRA board meeting today. So I don't know what the results of that conversation were, but I'm hopeful that that will mean further participation and further partnership with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned too, like if they switch developer, they might, it's good to know they were like, whatever, you got a good developer, we'll be right there with you. That was good to know, so helpful.
Yep, it's nice to have that. Again, there is quite a demand. If you look at the overall demand for housing in the state of Minnesota, it's probably a $65 billion, it's probably $67 billion issue. That's about what the state budget is for 2 years, and that's just for housing. And so having a $4 million budget for things like what we're proposing to do here in Cook County for the entire state really doesn't get us a lot of winners, but an awful lot of people competing for those dollars. But we have competed, and we do have those dollars because of our competitive nature that we have in Cook County. Again, we have those partnerships, but we are also pretty isolated, and we do need those resources. Because those resources do transcribe into wealth and opportunity for more workforce in our community. And the achieving this is really important.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I
Thank you.
appreciate coming in.
Thank you all, I appreciate it. And if you need any questions answered outside of this meeting, feel free to give me a call, email, stop by the office, happy to talk. Thank you.
I'm excited, I'm glad I feel like the energy's there now between all the different groups, which was not there before. So,
Sometimes it takes something or another to happen for us to kind of do that and have that closeness, and I appreciate that, and we'll just keep working on that too. Thank you.
thanks. All right, administrative report, we checked up off the list, because we don't have one with us right now.
No administrator.
All right. Council reports, Michael.
Happens to me, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's see here, we got animal rescue tomorrow, and the tree board is sort of dormant at the moment. And that's about all I got from now.
Okay,
I think he's got another joke in there somewhere. Just
No.
saving it for next time.
that's right.
Craig?
At a park board meeting, I didn't attend it, but I do have Dave's report that I can share with you. Just a little information on the park, June's receipts are matching May's, the trend that May had. I mean, we're lagging about 3.5% down, roughly 25,000, I think because of the weather. That's through, June, the end of June. Old business, let's see, he had some information here on with the help from, someone's texted me. The Duluth Archaeology, we were working with Duluth Archaeology to work on the State Historic Preservation Office review that's necessary to secure the legacy funding for the bathhouse and the sign projects. And so they're nearing completion, so that can be submitted. But I need a permit to take shovel samples to send in. But anyway, that process is being completed. We had some last minute hiring with, that helped out the, park, immensely, because they're short, as you saw today, I think there was 2 people that got added to the, personnel down there. And, then the only other thing that the park was talking about was, we already completed the July Art Fair weekend, so now we have the Fisherman's Picnic weekend coming up. And as you can see, the fish burger stand is already in place, which will operate on the weekends leading up to Fisherman's Picnic, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. I see tonight we approved the bingo 10.
Yep.
That's good, slowly but surely.
Yeah,
I believe
sure.
the fireworks is done,
Yeah, fireworks are done.
so we're getting there.
Fireworks, I think they're already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really,
Everything's staged and ready, just get rid of the smoke.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right, it's
I don't know if that can happen, and it could get worse.
Oh boy, hard to tell. All right, well, believe it or not, I really don't have anything. Jeff's deal was my biggest deal. Our meetings, for that meeting with them, and I'm just thrilled that they finally got someone and, that's really
Yeah, I
wants
mean,
to be
that's-
here and do this and energy around it and things are getting done, so that's great.
And what I read online sounds like they're pretty good. I mean, pretty decent outfit. Sorry, you
Yeah.
can read.
No, that should be good. Oh, and after Catherine was here talking about 4th Avenue, I did get a hold of Sheriff Ben Hallberg, and he was going to, I thought I saw it, but he's been sending me notes. So the speed trailer,
They had a sign up there, yeah. But you know what? I drove by that today, and it says speed limit 30.
It is.
And I know it is, no, I know it's a city speed limit, but I'm driving 20 and it's like, I'm going too fast.
Well, right, cause I said shouldn't.
Because if I went by her house at 30, she'd kind of go, what the heck?
Yeah.
Well,
It's too fast on that road.
it is, and I
Yeah.
talked to Mike about that,
But
why
it's the
can't we
law.
make it 20? Because there are kids there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah,
back
like-
end of the school.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
year round and not
No,
just.
Yeah.
I think it should be reduced a little bit. I don't know, I came out of the recycling center because I didn't know it's closed on Wednesdays, I guess, I don't know. Is it?
Is it?
It's been closed
No,
all day?
Just
Oh.
smoke.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
the
'cause of
smoke.
the
Just
smoke.
smoke today.
Because there's,
Cause I
because of
suppose
smoke.
Yeah.
they're outside working, or they have
Yeah.
exposure, right? Yeah, we talked about that, and we talked about even some better signs, sort of like, kids that play.
Mhm.
to
Well, they
kind
did
of-
put out, I think she had a sign out by her driveway, I think, was it the kids thing or just as slow? She had
Some
one, there was 4 of them along the road.
that they put out,
They have,
right,
yeah.
yeah, so I thought, should we get some?
Yeah.
And I had my daughter snap a picture of one somewhere in here in town, I said, that would be perfect for that. So we talked about signage, and then I asked Ben, could you like put it up for a little bit, then take it down, maybe put it at the top, like each direction occasionally, so people know, you do it once and they forget, right? Oh, wait a minute, they don't care. But if you come and go a little bit, and you're like, oh, maybe they are serious about this, but I agree, 30 is like serious. That's.
I was driving 15 and I thought, 30, I'll tromp on it. It's like, no, I couldn't drive 30 on that, there's no way.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
I
more
wouldn't
work
feel-
to be done.
You don't need to really,
No.
I mean,
What do you-
but, and that brings me back to like, okay, what if we pave it and fix it all up, then what?
All right, then you can really,
Cars will be flying by. Oh, new pavement.
Yeah.
And then he was supposed to talk to Robbie Haas with some concept ideas too. Other things we could maybe do. But sometimes, I was kiddingly saying too, like that new walking path that they're putting in, maybe that should curve down that street. It comes all the way down past maybe it should be coming down there for people trying to walk in there. They might actually get more walkers.
30 is, yeah, but when you drive from block to block, you're not driving 30 miles an hour through town. You only got a block, so that's kind of how that should be.
Yeah.
Because there's so many, you got 2 residential, then you got the community center, then you got the recycling center, you got a ball field,
And
and you got
that's,
another turnoff that goes to like the community garden or something. Oh, there's a garage there for the county,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of little turns there, so I mean, I think we should look at maybe that speed limit shouldn't be 30, it should be posted at a different number, maybe, I don't know. what
yeah,
it takes.
that was my first thought. And then there is a house to the left, right below the, or whatever.
When
There's,
you're coming down the.
yeah, below the.
Yeah, above
where's,
the, above the recycling center,
Yeah, there's one driveway.
homestead, there's a house in there,
Mhm.
It's tucked in.
on the
So,
left, and now there's gonna be, isn't Hamilton Habitat gonna be on
Well,
the other side?
potentially.
So that could be another driveway's there.
and that will be sometime out, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Cause that will be quite a project.
Yeah, so 5 of them,
Infrastructure
right?
needs.
They're like 5.
There's a few, I'm not sure
Yeah.
the number either.
And
so I
then
don't
nonetheless, the
quote.
driveway, I think, is coming off of
Yeah,
4th, it's not coming off of 7th, right? I
right.
don't know.
No, I thought it was supposed to come off as 7.
Oh, I don't know.
See, that's where I can't talk, so we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That said, though, there's, part of the cost apparently is gonna be some kind of a lift station.
Yep.
Cost to that, well, you would know better than I am that.
I don't know anything yet on that.
That's the only thing I've heard so far, that the infrastructure to
where
get
it
in there
is
could be very
relative to the-
expensive.
yeah.
It's not just like literally laying the lines. So, oh, I do have a couple of updates, so.
Wait long enough.
Yeah, and she'll start. So Petters currently is very much in the works to want to put infrastructure up 7th all the way. With a joint with potentially another homeowner at the top that is interested. And still waiting for a quote to even see the cost of putting that infrastructure up 7 as opposed to in the middle of his property.
So another
Does this make
property owner,
sense? You know
so
what I
somebody else who's up side.
Oh, up Seventh.
So you know how there was the two lines and then the one
Yeah.
that was gonna go up the middle a little bit farther back?
Yeah.
Instead, that would go up 7 and then
Which
just
would
go
be-
straight across.
And in some ways that would be,
A lot more sense.
yeah, that'd make a lot more sense. And we were talking about moving, well, we were doing, from the middle of that block to 7. Or not middle, but the
Yeah.
third, that last third we were doing.
So there's the cross
Yeah.
street, this third piece was supposed to be coming up here, and now he's having the engineers code it just to do what we always want to go, up the actual
Hayes,
street.
Hayes is right there,
A little bit, yeah. So up the actual, so this center one, that would have gone up to the back farther.
Yep.
He's getting the quote to have it actually be on 7. And then
Goes
they
up
would just,
7,
and
So
then they
on
would just
7
be
in
able
the-
to,
then go that direction. There's a garage on the left side, the top of 7.
and then people up here are interested, so then potentially they will.
That's up a hill.
Yeah. And it's
You gonna run
that's,
plumbing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, whatever.
So anyways, that's the status on that. Joel St. John is still not set with financing. Maybe that's all I know. Alright,
Thank you.
Thanks.
thanks Gavin.